Thank you, Ariel, for your kind words. It is you who deserve so much gratitude for helping bring us to this moment. You cited Yeshivat Maharat's many accomplishments, all of which you have helped bring into fruition. It's a pleasure to work with you, and I'm honored to accept this position as Yeshivat Maharat's inaugural president, with an eye towards taking the work that we've already achieved and accomplished to new heights. With their permission, I would like to offer these words in memory of Batsheva Stadlin, Zichronah Lavracha, daughter of our student Marian Novak and Noam Stadlin, who we lost so suddenly this year. Her light and laughter remain in our hearts. There's a Yiddish folktale told about a time when a woman resented that men seemed to own the world. Men got to read from the Torah and had all the interesting mitzvot and all the privileges. The women decided to present their grievances directly to God. They appointed Skatzel, a clever woman and a good speaker, as their representative. But how was the messenger to be dispatched? So they decided to make a human tower. Skatzel would scale up the tower and pull herself into heaven. The women scrambled up on one another's shoulders and Skatzel began to climb. But somebody in the tower shrugged or shifted and all the women fell, tumbling every which way. When the dust cleared, Skatzel had disappeared. Men went on ruling the world and nothing changed. But still, the women are hopeful. And that is why when a woman walks into a house, the other women say, "Aha, Skatzel kommt. Look, here comes Skatzel." And someday, it might really be she. I want to read the story through the lens of being a ceiling breaker. It's a story of breaking barriers, of seeking justice and equity and bringing God into our midst. In many ways, it is a story of the beginnings of Yeshivat Maharat. When Rav Avi and I co-founded Yeshivat Maharat in 2009, we opened up a credential pathway to ordain women. And like the women in the story, the students of Yeshivat Maharat have stood on the shoulders of the many who came before us. We have climbed upwards and collaborated and held one another up. And in just 8 years, I don't think I could have imagined our many successes. After ordaining our 5 beloved graduates today, Carmela, Chava, Goldie, Bracha, and Aaron, we will have ordained 19 women who are serving in synagogues across the United States, in Hillels, in Jewish day schools, and in Jewish organizations. We have traveled to and impacted over 30 communities in America, Israel, London, Paris, and Australia. And there are 28 students studying towards Semikha. We have launched an executive advanced college track for women who are already serving as spiritual leaders in the field. We have a dedicated faculty and a rigorous curriculum. We have a strong board and supporters and donors who have generously invested in our growth. The state of Yeshivat Maharat is strong. In many ways, we are ceiling breakers. We've broken new ground and created a new reality where Orthodox women are clergy. But the imagery of building a tower and climbing upwards towards a glass ceiling has its limitations. It brings to mind the short-sighted monolithic Migdal, the Tower of Babel. The climb upwards can lead to hitting our heads, and if the glass were to break, it would hurt. Glass would shatter and the entire structure would fall apart, leaving sharp shards of glass everywhere. And so our Migdal, our tower, must be reimagined to be a Migdal Oz, Shem Hashem, a tower of strength that resonates with godliness. A Migdal that is Magdil, that increases greatness, that focuses our gaze upwards so that even when there are barriers, we keep climbing. But looking up isn't enough. As it says in Shir HaShirim, Mashkiach min hachalanot, gaze through the windows. We must also look outwards as well. The Gemara in Brachot demands that every sanctuary, every place of Kedusha must have a window, just as the prophet Daniel prayed towards a window facing Yerushalayim. You see, windows are a porthole to the outside world. Even Noah's ark had a window at Sohar, or as the Baal Shem Tov explains, a light in the ark meant to mitigate pain by transforming Sarah, misfortune, into Tzohar, into windows. Windows then are an invitation to move outside of what we know, leave the Migdal, the building altogether, and bring the learning, the knowledge, and ethical values learned inside the Beit Midrash to sanctify the world. The charge to focus on moving upwards as well as outwards is how I intend to carry Yeshivat Maharat into our next phase of growth. It is a vision of strengthening our Migdal, our internal infrastructure, where our Beit Midrash will continue to flourish under the skilled leadership of our Rosh HaYeshiva and our founder, where our curriculum is evaluated and improved so that Gemara and Halakha are taught at the most innovative yet traditional way, where our unique pastoral Torah curriculum and leadership track train our students to be prepared to confront a 21st century Jewish community. And it is a vision of looking outwards, through the windows to the outside world. Our graduates have normalized what female leadership looks like in their communities, and I know that their congregants and Talmidim cannot imagine the very fabric of their synagogues, schools, or organizations without their compassionate and wise leadership. But through our community engagement strategy, we must extend our reach, changing hearts and minds in multiple communities to accept Orthodox women as clergy, thereby strengthening the entire Jewish community as well. As we look to grow upwards and outwards, we are poised to take Yeshivat Maharat to greater heights with 2 new major $1 million gifts to help shepherd us into the next chapter of Yeshivat Maharat's success. The Lindenbaum family will help us continue to build our Migdal, our internal program, by naming the Belda K. Lindenbaum Center for 21st Century Rabbinic Leadership. They will help us fulfill Belda, who I miss so much, will help us fulfill her vision of training the brightest and most talented women to be prepared for the challenges and opportunities that they will encounter in the field. We are expanding our leadership track to incorporate entrepreneurship and experiential education with an eye towards shaping a dynamic community that will excite people about their Judaism. And Chani and Steve Laufer, dear friends, will help invest in our windows, in our external vision. Their new entity, the Aviv Foundation, is dedicated in part to promoting deep engagement with Jewish learning, texts, and tradition with an open and inclusive framework. They will be investing in our community engagement project, helping us expand and extend our impact in communities that are familiar with Yeshivat Maharat, as well as reach new places that are waiting and thirsting for Yeshivat Maharat's brand of open and inclusive yet traditional leadership. The Lindenbaum and Laufer families have partnered with us with the intent of bringing forth a world where Orthodox women are integral to the community, where women are not only receivers, but are drivers of our tradition, where we can look up and out with the mission of building an enduring Migdal Oz, a tower of strength that is surrounded by windows. In just a few moments, 5 more women will join us in becoming not only ceiling breakers, but tower builders and window gazers as well. Carmela, with your insatiable quest for knowledge. Chava, with your deep philosophical questions. Goldie, with your passion to learn and teach Torah. Bracha, with your wisdom and enthusiasm that touch people's souls. And Aaron, with your vision of an all-inclusive Jewish community. Your much-needed Torah will not, cannot be contained by glass ceilings. Yours is a Torah that has already broken the mold, that has strengthened us, and has already created the light in the hearts of many. You represent the hope that every time a woman walks into a house, the other women say, Skatzel kommt. Look, here comes Skatzel. Carmela, Chava, Goldie, Bracha, and Aaron. Skatzel kommt. Skatzel has arrived in each one of you as you're doing your part to usher in a more equitable and dynamic Jewish future. Carmela, Chava, Goldie, Bracha, and Aaron, it is now your time. I would like to call up some of our musmachot who have already been ordained, our faculty and masmichim, to begin our Semikha ceremony.